All right, there were 2 minutes in, so yeah, we'll get started. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Today's webinar, it's the series finale, 3 out of 3 on becoming a HubSpot admin. The last one, we're introducing you to an actual HubSpot admin, Christina K. Yeah, wherever you're calling in from, grab yourself a coffee or a snack or a dessert. Yeah, I'm super excited. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Jan. I'm a HubSpot employee. I'm the RevOps community manager here. My pronouns are he, him. And if you have any visual impairments, I am a white male, have dark hair, and I'm currently wearing a gray shirt. So yeah, here at HubSpot community, we always try to set up events like these where we try and help you get better at becoming an operations manager, or help you become better at using HubSpot. And that's why we're partnering with RevPartners and Matt Bolian for this particular event. And I guess that's it for me. I mean, just some quick notes. If you have any questions for Matt or Christina during this event, please use the Q&A to put them there. If you use a chat is a bit more messy, and we might not be able to get to them. So please use the Q&A if you have any questions, and use the chat if just for any like general excitement or comments you want to leave with us. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm going to leave you to Matt and Christina K in some very good hands.
John, thank you. Just for quick introduction of myself, just as we're doing this is. I am for any visual impaired white male. I used to have red hair. My son now calls it brown, but I'm going to call myself a redhead. That's my identity. I have freckles. You can't see it. There's a lot of freckles on my arms. And I'm wearing a green shirt, which is the color of RevPartners. He, him is my pronouns. Christina, I'm going to pass it to you to do that quick, and then we'll get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. Hi, everybody. I'm Christina K. And for anybody who is visually impaired, I have a black shirt on. I am a white female with long blonde hair, and my pronouns are she, her, or she, her. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I am pumped about this. This is the finale of becoming a HubSpot super admin and what that means. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get started and we'll go through. So some of this I know we've seen. I just think it's worth like going over on some of this again and make sure I'm going. So first is I'm going to do an introduction. I'm going to go over. Some of y'all have seen me before, so you know it. I used to my background. I'm a non-traditional super admin coming from the military, where I was a military intelligence officer. Then I was the head of RevOps for some companies, formerly a Salesforce fanatic turned HubSpot fanboy, co-founded RevPartners, have lots of certifications, 30 plus. And the claim to fame is we're the fastest tiering. And we just hit elite this week, guys. So like super excited. So the fastest tiering HubSpot partner for Platinum, Diamond, and Elite. So joining us this week, if you haven't seen Christina K, she is, I would call her HubSpot famous. She is on lots of webinars for HubSpot. She has probably one of the most, she's a prolific HubSpot speaker, but probably one of the best, and this will come up, use cases for a rip and replace from Salesforce and implementing that for a full HubSpot tech stack for the current company she's at. She is a HubSpot super admin. She runs or is a co-leader of the Hugs e-commerce that has started this year. And it's a top 25 under, I think it's under 35, but we'll put 25 there. Right
it
now,
is, yeah.
So anything else that I missed?
I wish I was under 25 still.
Anything that I missed, you want to give some more background on yourself?
I don't think so. No, I think you did a great job. Thank you.
Okay, Christina's a big deal. And I'm excited for her to be here to talk about what it means to be a HubSpot super admin specifically. And I'm going to go into some bluffs. So this is easy, but I'm going to go here. As you think about where we sit, right? So at the beginning, we gave the theory, like what does it mean to be a HubSpot admin? We talked about these 5 stages, which are very specific ways, which we're going to go over again today at the beginning of like how to be a RevOps professional, but also how to be a power user of HubSpot and what that means. And then how do you upskill? So Christina will be engaging with that and also talk about where she's at in that level and how she accidentally became one. We'll talk about those as well. Part two is RevOps recruiter. So we talked to a recruiter who all they do is hire RevOps professionals, which is tool agnostic. They just work with hiring managers. And we talked about what does it mean? Like if you're going from a recruiter to get a RevOps job and get hired as a director or the head of RevOps. And now we're talking to one of the people that have has done this. Like they've been hired to do RevOps, been hired to do the head of marketing. They've been hired to do sales points. And what does that look like from a HubSpot perspective in becoming a super admin? Christina became super admin kind of on accident, but like, how do you do it deliberately now that HubSpot is a big deal? So that's where we sit in this. To go over what we're going over, and these would be questions that Christina is engaging with that we're going through. Number one is, why did you choose HubSpot? So we'll go over that. Number two is, how do you become a super admin on purpose? And number three is like, how are you upskilling? So there's like generally what we're going to be talking about throughout. And we'll also go through Christina's entire life story and how she actually got fired one time. As we talk about that, because HubSpot was not yet a real CRM, but it is now. Okay, so as we continue, I just want to go over this theory again. And I know I've gone over this every single time, but it's this important. Number one is HubSpot is everything. Like it is the only platform where you can do have your data in one place. So if you're a data nerd and you're RevOps, like this is amazing. HubSpot's the number 2 CRM. It used to be number 1, and then something happened. Like, I don't know what happened. Salesforce may have paid a lot of money, but it's the number 2 CRM. Yeah, it's the marketing automation platform. It is the number 1. It is the number 1 CMS. It is the number 3 service help desk. And that's before they relaunched service. I expect that to be number 2, number 1. This is a new era.
And Matt,
Go ahead.
Matt, can I insert? It's probably number 1 in our heart. Let's be honest, right? Number 1 in our heart. So it matters.
This is a good point. This is the reason, and we'll go over this. Why, Christina, why did you choose to get really good at HubSpot and not at something else? This is the reason, guys. Like there is no other software that is this deliberate, that is like organically created and not tried to do through acquisition. That's why that whole cobble thing. So just a point, we're a new era. It's that new era means, and the left, we've gone over this before. You used to have these like really robust, you could call them almost gluttons. You call it, like there's robust tech stack. You now can consolidate, and because you can consolidate everything into one, because HubSpot can do so many different functions. And so CRM, sales engagement, map, CMS, forms, CPQ, proposal, you name it. It allows RevOps professionals and then the super admins to be better at their job and be better for their companies. And it replaces. So that's when I say new era, this is what I mean. And not everybody has realized this. There is room here. There is not enough HubSpot admins in the marketplace for companies. It is huge opportunity for people to start investing time in this. And so when you look at that, I just want to like the new era is like all these like operations is HubSpot spans multiple disciplines. And so to really be able to like use these, you have to like know these different disciplines, and it's not easy. It's actually like this question's coming. How do I become this? How do I do this? That's why I have Christina. That's why I've had people like to help us navigate, because it's not complicated. It's really hard to make it linear. And Christina's story, hopefully it resonates with you. We'll show you that. And so the conclusion we get to, and I say this everywhere, I just want to say it louder, is there's never been a better time. Literally, there's never been a better time in the history of the world, but in the history of like to get really good at HubSpot. Because used to, you can only be good at HubSpot. You had to be good at another platform. You can only be good at HubSpot now and go anywhere. And that was not true 2 years ago. It is true now. So the recommendation is to get really stinking good at RevOps, but specifically specialize in HubSpot. And it's going to be the best career choice you can make. And you'll start to see these things. And I'm just as like you can be a super admin and it will be a good career move. And you'll be a Superman, Superwoman. So to go over that, just like when I say the HubSpot admin, so we're doing that, it means to be both RevOps professional, a power user. So you're a professional specializing in software like Christina. And so you can, the admin is the person that does both these things. And so when you think about the bucket, when I think about Christina, she is both this professional, RevOps professional. So Christina could go and get a job in a Marketo stack that has Salesforce because she's a RevOps professional. She would have to learn the stack, but she could technically get a job. At the same time, she's really good at HubSpot, and that helps her get even better jobs. And it helps her choose the company she wants to work for and choose the type of the culture she wants to go to. So like combine these, you have the admin, and we're going to talk about how she's turned and how she's done both of these throughout her career. And then if we think about those getting there, that's the end state, but like, how do you have different stages? Stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like, there's different buckets. A RevOps professional must be able to read a P&L. A RevOps professional needs to know how to write SQL queries and at least know how to join tables because they need relational databases. They need to be able to know how to use Lucidchart or Miro and do documentation and draw. A power user of HubSpot needs to be able to demo the hubs. They need to be able to, how fast can you build a report? How many certifications do you have? So there's going to be these levels. So as I think about here, enter Christina as we come through, is the first question I have for Christina as we start to engage in this is, what level admin are you?
I was about, I say like 4.5. I'm not quite the 5 yet, but
not quite to 5. I may have knew the answer. And so I'm actually gonna get out of the report because I have a whole section on this that didn't show up, but she said 4.5 and I put these yeses. So I just want to go through this and interact with this for a second, Christina, to look at this and like, as you're thinking about, first off, nothing like this existed when you were becoming HubSpot admin. Like, how did you, when you think about like these functions, and you're looking at, when you're looking at this, what would you say for a HubSpot power user is like the 2 most important things if you were new that you would want to focus on?
Definitely SQL, whether that be read or write. Because I think those 2 would be the hardest to learn if you just know or you're really, really good at the marketing side of any marketing automation platform. And then in the side of the CRM, you can write like process or workflows, things like that. But the SQL is going to be huge for your career. And I would say definitely lean on that. And I know you said 2, but I feel like that's enough in itself to learn. So it's definitely a big one to do. So
learn how to use SQL databases is the best career move you can do, and your number 1 recommendation. Okay. If you think about HubSpot, if I was to take that and to extrapolate that means, guys, that y'all can draw a HubSpot entity relationship database. So a SQL, to do SQL, you must be able to vision like in this. And so like, what is that? Like, how do you going to upskill the fastest? Can you, yes or no, can you visualize the HubSpot database? Did you take the opportunity to draw it prior to this, Christina? Did you?
I did. I can share it with you later. It's not the prettiest thing right now, but I did it. So, and I did it in Lucidspark. So yeah.
I like it.
It was, and I did it with our like custom objects and API, including everything. And
it actually so you built out your entire instance.
See some of our, I did.
So I want to like this, guys, if you are a HubSpot user today and I say, can you, and I ask the question to you, can you draw a HubSpot ERD? And you don't know what that means. And we talk about SQL or ERD. I love that. Go to the HubSpot developer, type in entity relational database, and HubSpot has their one that they're just like out of the box what it looks like, and just start looking at it. And there's some at the end of this, I have some use cases. I have some LinkedIn courses that are free that you can go and it can teach you how to do this. It's like what you heard Christina say is data operations is really important for you to become a HubSpot and how you deliberately become one. I have 2 questions here, Christina, and I'll have you answer this. It says, so one of them is, build a go-to-market, which is like your TAM, your ICP persona, but it also says build a forecasting model. What does go-to-market mean? Is the question. Can you what does go-to-market mean? Can you answer that question? And how did you get good at it?
So for me, go-to-market is basically how are you going to grow and scale your business? And that's not just like marketing side of it. that's every side. So like sales, CS, marketing, like I'm into B2B, like tech space. So how those all work together to let you go to market in the sense of go to like sell and grow and scale. And what I've done in my mind when I first was starting, go to market was just like your marketing plan. But really, that's far from the truth. It's really talking with your execs, your sales team, and that's any level because they're the ones talking to the customer. So if you're making your go to market with what you think, it's probably not going to be correct. You need to be looking at your data, your ICP, and like what they're saying, because they're really going to lead you to that end goal or that growth. And especially when you're working with your like BDRs, SDRs, they're working with those people who they are hanging up on them. They're getting yelled at. So listen to them of how to create your go-to-market, because that's going to help you grow and scale, but also then change direction if you have to, because you could do your go-to-market at the end of the year at Q3 for the next year, but be adaptable and be like me and Matt talked about this last time with like HubSpot. They used to talk about their COS or CMS being growth-driven design, but have that as your like go-to-market, have that with everything, be adaptable and agile, and be able to change.
So I'm gonna ask this question about go-to-market because we just talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the end state of a go-to-market? And in 2 sentences, like if you have a go-to-market, you can X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm. If you have a go-to-market, you can scale and grow your business, but with everybody talking the same lingo to get you to that end goal.
So and to answer this is a point. When I hear go-to-market, guys, just so you'll know that when I hear TAM, what a go-to-market is, it's how big is the market, meaning what's the size, how many people can I sell to, ICP, how many people will buy, and it's a waterfall math. It translates to how much, like how many opportunity, like here's my revenue goal. I want to make $2 million in AAR. How am I going to do that? The go-to-market is the how. You define the TAM, which is your target addressable market, your ICP, your persona. Am I doing outbound? Meaning, am I like doing list building and I'm doing SDRs that are going on LinkedIn and doing whatever that may be? Or am I doing an inbound play? How many leads should marketing and what's the revenue they should have attributed to them, or sales? And so it is the go-to-market is complex. And if you're looking at the transition here, like most people learn go-to-market when they do an MBA. Because it's the school, that's when you learn, because it forces you to do a go-to-market. I have some resources at the end of this that will teach you how to do a go-to-market for free in some courses. I'm just making the point. And a forecasting model is taking these like words and saying, here are the exact number of opportunities. Here's my conversion rate from MQLs to SQLs, from SQLs to close one. Here's my average deal size. Here's my sales cycle. And then you start to build a forecast model out. Those are complex things. And that's why these are sitting in this like 3. And that's what moves you to a RevOps professional, where you start to move from when someone starts asking you, hey, Christina, how can I do the go-to-market? To why is my go-to-market not working? And you need to be able to answer the why. The next is, do you have any recommendations on where to start learning SQL, Christina?
So I am kind of a nerd in a sense, and I honestly just started reading blogs on it to learn the basics of it. I know it sounds so crazy, but I mean, specifically, I would say MariaDB, they have a lot of good content out with that. And then also, if you want to read some HubSpot developer docs, that can start teaching you it. And also the developer Slack, the HubSpot developer Slack community has helped me a lot, because I just asked the most basic questions in a sense with that, and they taught me or they showed me places to go. And step 2 of that, and I think we're going to talk about this a little later, is if you do have the opportunity or have the right tiering, is have a sandbox of HubSpot and start testing and learning yourself. But I'll talk more about that a little later. And that's how I learned. That's where I went first, is just kind of being okay with the gritty and mistakes, because that's going to help you learn in anything you do, but especially in any type of like code or any type of language you're trying to learn.
Yes. I have I have recommendations at the end of this on where to go. So I picked courses in Coursera and LinkedIn that are free that you can go and take on how to learn SQL. I'd also say, and we'll get to this, Matt, learned SQL using Salesforce. So we may just.
So did I. I mean, I didn't know if I was allowed to say that.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. So we'll get
Trailblazer. So yeah.
So this is from Shadab. It is roadmap for learning HubSpot out of the box tools. So it's like a roadmap. You learn the HubSpot out of the box tools, then SQL, then APIs. What's the best order, and is there a good strategy? I'll answer it. We'll answer that a bit later. I'm going to start getting into Christina's journey of like what's the order to learn this in, and my answer is there is no real order, and it's going to be based on where you find where you're loving, and I'll go into that later as a point and get that. Christina, could you please send us the developer Slack channel link? The answer is I'll have that in the bottom of this at the end, guys. There's a lot. Anyway, there's a lot of these channels. I have all links to every single one of them at the end that we're going to talk through this time. Okay, so we're talking to a sage, essentially, guys. Like, so this is, I just want to make a point. Like, there's not many people that are as good at HubSpot as the person that is on this call with us today. That is a reality. That is not a fake comment. So let's go to this. So I'm going to make this point because we're going to get into this. Is Christina tells her origin story in a podcast out there. So there is another place where you can hear and listen that like tells these over and over again with other super admins. But I have a question for you is, because I want to start with this. Who wouldn't like being RevOps HubSpot admin? Like, who would you say if someone's talking to you, like, actually don't pursue this?
And this is me just in my own opinion. So if you do this, but you have the heart and want to do it, you're an anomaly and you're really special. So go ahead and do it because something's there. But I would say a lot of, I would say like graphic designers, PR, those type of roles probably wouldn't love doing it. Not that saying you can't do it. That's not saying that at all. But which is very weird because I came from the PR world, but I quickly learned that that was not for me and I switched. But that's who, in my opinion, but also people who aren't organized, who don't like process, things like that. But if you would look at my apartment, my closet, you'd be like, wow, you'd probably be awful at RevOps, but I'm pretty good at it. But so I'm not saying organized as like your house, but I'm just like project management. So if you love like the basic things of like process documentation or even like Jira, Asana, things like that, you probably have a little bug in you that you could be pretty good at RevOps.
So if you're the person in your company that there's a project management system and you're the guru or your person, you're probably a good, or if you don't like project management software and you have never demoed at least 4 of them, you're like, because you just are curious, likely not RevOps. And if data, it's not if data scares you, but if data just makes you not happy and you're like, I hate working with data, it's likely not good for RevOps as a career.
Correct.
So this is this next question, and we'll get into this in your career because it's funny how looking at the trajectory. Again, there's non-linear trajectory. But how did you today, as a Christina K, what made you say, okay, I am going to base my entire career, I'm essentially going to be blacklisted from Salesforce because I've done so many case studies against them and I've ripped. What made you say, I am going to attach my entire career and identity as a professional as being really good at HubSpot?
Well, in the beginning, I just believed in like the product and I really loved just everything about it. But for me, it's just it's kind of highlighted here, but like the cross-functional ability with all of their hubs. But in the beginning, it was really just Marketing Hub or like COS, which now it's CMS, but it really was just that in the beginning. And for me, I always kind of like waved the orange flag, I guess you could say, because the community was always there, but also I knew that something was bigger or that something was growing bigger with HubSpot just based on all the product updates that were coming out. with Dharmesh and Brian just really leading the charge and just their ability to connect with people, but also see long-term what that product needs, and they're very transparent about it. And for me, I just wanted to keep learning about HubSpot, and I was really hungry. And for me, that's why I've been holding the orange charge, I guess you can say, for a long time. And I even like went back and forth, because sometimes I'm like, maybe it's not going the way I'm thinking, but then I would go one way and jump back. So for me, that's really, in the beginning, it's been in my heart this whole time.
I'm going to add to this. So what I heard, like, HubSpot is different as a company. And so there's this reality of HubSpot's not regular. And that's why people love working there. That's why the user conference that I've actually never been to, because I became a HubSpot user post-COVID, but you see people inbound, there's just like this charge and this almost like rabid awesomeness. Like you get there and you catch
like
the best disease ever. Yeah, there's like an energy that I keep hearing from people that people are excited about coming back. Then there's the tool itself is just better. And you said this, and this is like, you heard us say this earlier, is one data set for all teams. And so it's like the first time you can have a coalescence of having sales, marketing, CS, your finance team, your executive team can all be looking at the same data. Everyone can see the data. And I'm going to double down on this one. Everyone can have a user without paying for it. So you can have free users and they can see all the same data as the paid users. So paid users are the function. So it's like, it is fundamentally different than anything else that's on the market. You mentioned integrations here. Go ahead, Christina.
Sorry, I was just going to add to that. Another side of our business that works in it as well is like our development team. And they like love it, which says so much, because it's, when we say it's cross-functional, it is extremely cross-functional.
That's a really good point. And it goes to this integrations point is, she said my development team. And so these are people who were IT majors, know a coding language, know several coding languages, Python, Java, Node.js, whatever it is. And they say, I like using HubSpot better because I can build my product better on it. And so there's this reality of HubSpot API is greater than Salesforce API. It has not like come out as quickly as Salesforce Apex, for example. However, it has now like reached this critical mass that it's better than. And this last one, just so we have time to get through the rest, and you can guys, this is why Matt Bolian is doing this. Like I said, I will become a HubSpot and I will the Salesforce no longer wants to talk to me. It is just so much easier to adopt, and it's so much less friction. And I know it's less clicks to do small things for sales users. It's prettier and it's less intimidating, but just as powerful. And Christina, you did this. You want to add anything? Like adoption's better.
Yep. So for us, like and this less clicks makes me laugh, because when I've mentioned this or talked about it on LinkedIn or something, we have some person that usually says like less clicks doesn't mean a CRM's better. But when I think of less clicks, I break it down almost in an ERD mindset, because if you think of like a diagram and breaking that down, that's like productivity, that's less human error, that's more ability for the sales team to do what they need to do, is sell or upsell or retain or whatever they need to do. So less clicks is more than just a click on a screen. It's really about how your CRM is built and that productivity of your team. And when we changed to HubSpot from Salesforce, we saved over like 50 hours a month per sales person. And that is a lot of time broken down. If you look at it in the sense of how many calls they're making, how long they're on the calls, like that's ridiculous. And once we switched and things were really in place and people had 100% adoption, our net new increase, as well as the value of our customer. It's so crazy when you break it down into, people say it's just clicks, but it's a matter of growth and productivity. And those two things are going to help you scale.
Yeah, it's I think of this way is nobody ever questions the ROI of email.
Yeah.
Because there's 100% adoption.
Yep.
And if you can increase adoption by 5%, 10%, your ROI inherently, intrinsically is related to how adopted a product is or a process is, period. So adoption is the most important good. And less clicks, people make fun of it, but like less clicks equals better, usually.
Yep, exactly. And one thing on adoption for us, I will say, it makes me so happy when I'm looking in different like Slack channels on like with the reseller ratings, and people are like, wow, like HubSpot's so much better. Like this is making me do this. My job helps my job with blank. Like one person, he even like we were in an executive meeting and he was there just, it was kind of like a review, like a business kind of QBR, but more about like happiness, I guess you could say, as an employee. But he was just saying how HubSpot's made his job better and his life happier at work, because he can own it more. He can have his own pipeline. He doesn't have to live off of Excel sheets.
My life is better because I have HubSpot. I like that statement. So what we've done for this first half, and I promise I'm not selling HubSpot to you, but I just want to, what I'm going over, like because everyone here will likely have HubSpot. What I'm trying to communicate with this is, I hope you leave here with this statement. Becoming good at HubSpot is a really good idea, and it can help. And here's why. And so as you're communicating internally, or if you're in a place where you have to position it to try to get more, like here are some examples of how it was. And so, so Christina, and there are other professionals out there in the system that can help you tell these stories. What I'm gonna go to next is I'm gonna get into Christina's, like Christina's, that was, I'm gonna manually choose this because that's not the right order. I'm gonna go into this. Let's start going to you, like, what did your career look like and how did you end up as a HubSpot super admin? We're gonna go from college all the way to your current job. Go through it. Let's take, I don't want to take, my intent here, our intent, guys, is for people to resonate with, oh, I can see myself here. Because Christina today is not Christina of yesterday, and she's a different person. And it's not this linear trajectory. Many times she was not even working. Many times she wasn't even working in HubSpot. So I just want to go through this. We have some fun facts and to do it. And Christina, I'll let you work through it, and then we'll go to the next portion of what job 5 through 8 were.
Yep, cool. So in the beginning, so my undergrad was PR and marketing. I grew up wanting to work at 17 Magazine, being like a editor or something like that, because I feel like I grew up in the 90s and that was like the cool thing to do. So, like that's what I wanted. So in college, I interned here and there at different agencies. And then at the end of college, I started a student-led agency, which we worked with like local businesses, because I had the ability to drive off campus because I had a car to different internships. A lot of people didn't have that. So I wanted to give that to them. So I started the agency. At the time, HubSpot was like just starting. And I met someone who was one of HubSpot's first partner agencies on PR 2020. And I was like, hey, maybe I could like use this for people at Baldwin Walls, which I got my undergrad at. And so I did. So I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Cool. So when I got out of college, I'm like, what am I going to do now? So I worked at a PR agency, and then second job was I moved to Dubai and I worked at a branding agency doing PR and account strategy. So nothing with HubSpot quite yet. Again, I guess I was learning HubSpot in the sense of reading their blogs and things like that, but I wasn't really ingrained into HubSpot quite yet fully. So then I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this because the book Inbound changed my life. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it did. And so I moved back to the States and I got really big into the tech world, which is kind of when it started to launch me. I was using sorry.
Can I sit on your second job PR? I just want to hear people to hear this.
Yep.
I use the word soul crushed, but I'm trying to be dramatic and a good point. If like, there are going to be functions. So Christina was doing most design work. She's editing, she's like writing, and she was not fulfilled in that job. Read Inbound, HubSpot was like reading and was like, I want to like working with data, and I'm called to do this. So I just like, Christina did not start in any data at all. Didn't even think she wanted to do those things. So I'm just like, I'm going to sit there.
Because math was my worst subject.
Yeah,
in high
math,
school. In
poor
college, it
subject.
wasn't, but
But then she's like, I want to
So,
do
yeah.
something with this, found the third job. And now, sorry, I just want
nope,
to, a
you're
little bit of
all
hype.
good. You're
I
all
mean, it's
good.
like, it's the reality. So now you get a third job.
It is really. So then I was working at a technology distributor and using Marketo and SAP. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. But then I missed the vibe, I guess you could say, of HubSpot, because I feel Marketo and SAP are kind of opposite of that, in my opinion. Don't quote me, but that is my opinion on that. And I was like, hey, I need to do something. So then I was looking for a job, and it happened that there was a HubSpot agency at the place I was living at in Tampa, and I loved it, and it was really great. And then I was fired. And I was fired for the most ironic thing now, which is they said I wasn't productive, which is funny to me now because it's not me now, but at the time HubSpot really didn't have that CRM quite yet, but I was trying to kind of work in that mindset of that because that's really what we were doing for our clients. So I was trying to work that in, but at the time that was not really heard of because HubSpot wasn't talking really about that. And this was the era of HubSpot when I keep mentioning like COS. This is the change from COS to CMS. And I was doing like consulting with HubSpot, like HubSpot customers, account management. I was selling it, doing all of that stuff. And then even like the gritty stuff in the sense of making templates and different things like that. But at that time, I didn't know I could code or design, but HubSpot made it super easy. And this is when I joked with Grant about this. I think it was Grant. Who did I joke? I think it was Grant. Yeah. That now I like look at a website and I'm like, I can guess if it's made on HubSpot or not. And then I look at the code and then I'm like, okay, yep, it is. And so different things like that, how kind of made me fall in love with it just because it gave me the power to learn about code. And then I kind of fell in love with it more. And then it got down into this big snowball of what it is now.
So I'm gonna stop here. Every like one or two jobs, I'm gonna do commentary. So I'm gonna like, what happened? You moved, you're like, I want to be in data. And so you moved Marketo and SAP. You talk about user adoption. That's the opposite of HubSpot. Talk about like looking pretty, opposite of HubSpot. Talking about less clicks, total opposite.
Correct.
So you're like, hey, I want to go back. I read inbound. And so I just know like how powerful inbound is, guys. She read inbound while she was living in Dubai, got a different job that was not HubSpot, and she came back and worked in HubSpot several years after she read a book. Just talking about like life cycles and how you do attribution. You can't. Anyway, this is a point. Dark funnel wins. Remember that, guys.
Yes.
So as you go here, so she started selling it, but she wanted to use like, and then got fired. So, but fell in love with the data, like because she wasn't being productive because you couldn't at that point do rep activity and how many emails you sent, and you couldn't use it as a CRM. She would have like, she really needed to have Salesforce as a point, but she was like, I want to try to get it to use it because she loved the software so much. So you're at the point in your career, right? Let's just look, is you didn't know data. You're starting to know data, but you're like, you picked the software you like, but you just got fired, right? So it's like, this non-traditional, like now we're moving at this point, you probably like stage 2 or 3 admin, right? Like, you know, your RevOps and you're starting to get it, but also you're starting to see things from different perspectives. Like, you know what it means to be a salesperson. You know what it means to be a CS person. You know what it means to be a marketing person. You notice she's starting to get different functions. Okay, guys, I'm going to move to next. So now we have 5th. Now we're going to go to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Fill us in. What happened?
Yep. So one thing to point out too with data in like my beginning career is if you love, and this is going to sound very corny, but if you love like Google Analytics and digging into that of that why and things, just like any data really on Google Analytics, you probably could love doing RevOps. And that's really what kind of pushed me to that side, because making decisions on data. But just a little tidbit. So then I went to an agency and I convinced them to become a HubSpot partner agency. And you're going to hear this a lot about me convincing people about HubSpot a lot going after this time. So I got up their HubSpot partner agency. I ran their HubSpot practice. They had 2 divisions really of their business. And it was one side, it was like the HubSpot partner agency side, and the other was really strictly web design, but then that kind of merged into the HubSpot agency because you really fell into that CMS side instead of just like WordPress or things like that. And the companies that we were working with or that their industry was in was perfect for HubSpot because they were smaller like startups. And at the time, that's like really what HubSpot was like known to like build on. But now they got to scale those businesses as they were scaling with HubSpot and while HubSpot was scaling. So that is what
So, yeah, I do want to do a time check. We got 18 minutes. This is a point. We got 18 minutes. We'll make sure we get through this. Can you run through 6, 7, 8?
Yep.
And I got some as we go
Yep,
through.
I got it. So then I left that agency and went to a tech company. And during my interview, I convinced them to move from Eloqua to HubSpot. The CEO mentioned about how he didn't like it. And I was like, well, have you heard of HubSpot? Let's talk about it. So then they did that. And they're on Salesforce, Power BI, HubSpot. And I just worked with the sales team and developed SLAs because that's super important. And if you have questions on how to do that, find me on LinkedIn. I'm like, I have documents to help you with that. So I'd love to help with that. Exactly. It's marketing. Okay. Correct. And then I went to EdTech and I went back to Marketo because I thought that's what I had to do to make money. I thought I had to know Marketo and like Salesforce to make money. This was like prior to the era of the HubSpot admin.
I want to sit on this for a second. I know I'm skipping in, but like, let's yell this, let's hear this out because this is a truth and an assumption. I have to, and by the way, she went and got certified in Marketo to get a job. Which is awesome and shows like how much Christina, like what it takes. But this is the truth. And this has only recently changed. To make money, to get a good job, you had to be a Salesforce admin or a Marketo admin. And they're like very specific certifications. And if you had those, you can get hired and you can get good jobs. And you look, that's job number 7. That's just only recently from this. Like that was true 2 to 3 years ago. Today it's not. And so now we're going into the new age of the HubSpot admin, the new eras we talk about. And so let's talk about, I think this is one of the best facts. We talk about, this is when you've done a complete rip and replace. This is fun. Okay.
Yes. So I walked into, I think it was like day 2, basically, of my job here at Reseller Ratings. And I told our CEO and CRO, hey, we should probably switch to HubSpot because just the way our like Salesforce is set up, it's clunky, data is crazy, but also we're already on HubSpot. This is going to make it efficient for everybody. And they were like, F no, we're not doing that because they were like 15-year like Salesforce guys. I convinced first my CEO to say, he was like, yes, because he's like a design development person and he loves HubSpot, just the brand in general. And our CRO is a little harder to convince. But I did that in about 4 months or so. And then within my 9th month here, I basically transferred or migrated everything off of Salesforce to HubSpot. And then now we're in that place of I'm getting Slack messages saying HubSpot basically changed their job life because they're happier and they're hitting their KPIs. So you're welcome.
Yeah, I love this story and I just like love this trajectory. And I think it shows like, what does it mean to become a HubSpot admin? And it doesn't mean taking 5 steps, like a step forward. It means going back and forth, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, until you get to the place where you are starting to like, where you know it and you are that stage 4, stage 5, and you can start convincing Salesforce, like other users to come in. And literally you can change people's lives as a super admin. So Christina, if you want.
And sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say the way I did that, because I saw a little comment that said 17 years of data, Salesforce and HubSpot in 9 months. So the way I did that was kind of sneaky. I would send monthly executive reports to my CEO and CRO from HubSpot, because we did have a HubSpot Salesforce sync. And they're like, wow, I didn't know this was showing up, or we could have this, because in Salesforce, we couldn't do like revenue forecasting reporting that well, especially on product lines, because we are a SaaS company. And then having even like quotes, product lines, things like that, syncing up to our rev reporting with our accounting manager. So this is the first time the company's had in like 15 years or so actual forecasting that we can have. And we can also see different things on like product lines with upsells and like add-ons, upsells, and then also packaging. And then step 2 of that, now we're probably going to be going on HubSpot payments, so it can be like quickly sign on and then become a user quickly, having that freemium mindset. And then once they hit a certain threshold, it'll automatically push them in HubSpot.
Ooh, PLG in HubSpot, which is what will start to be. It's HubSpot's. It's
Yes,
like
yes, yes.
the worst kept secret of HubSpot is that PLG can be done in HubSpot.
Yep.
As a point, product-led growth, or what PLG means as a use case. Okay, I'm gonna go. So I've seen this. I'm gonna here are things I noticed. You can interact with these. I just want here's the learnings I noticed from this. So number 1, and I'll go into this HubSpot ecosystem. You went back and forth between being and I think there's 4 different types of company. I'll go into a second. Back and forth between being a agency user, like an implementation person, specifically agencies, usually in marketing. So, and an end user. And the HubSpot in that, I want to say the HubSpot ecosystem is larger than this today. And so guys and girls and gals, in all others, we have the ability to there's now more options for us, and your career can be more it doesn't have to, you have more options. You can be more deliberate than what Christina and I had to do in our past. So just to make that point, and I'll go over that in a second. Number 2 is you did different roles in companies. And so if you look at that progress, is we talk about being a RevOps professional, you have to know different functions. In that, you were sales, you were account management, which you could be sales, you could almost like CS, and you did marketing. And so you know how to orchestrate SQL databases, which is all a CRM really is, from different perspectives, so you can increase adoption. And so guys, if you're thinking about what jobs and the importance, I think do different roles from different perspectives. If you're trying to is important, and sometimes take pay decreases. Don't hear me say this, but it's okay to get in a role if you just
I did
function. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. That's I wouldn't it is okay. Guys, it is okay. You want to talk about a time you did do that? When you shifted and take a pay decrease?
I took about a 30K pay decrease when I went from working on Marketo and SAP to a HubSpot agency. And I did it because I wanted to get into that community ecosystem and just start really ingraining in it, because I knew this was the wave to go to. And ironically, I got fired, but then it still worked out in the long run. I feel everything happens for a reason. But yeah, I took a pretty big pay cut to do that.
Wow. I just want to hear, I want to show.
But then I started bartending again. So I had to make something up.
I want you to hear this as we think about becoming a HubSpot admin. Is there is no such thing, and this is my opinion, so y'all can say it, but there's no such thing as being tool agnostic anymore. There are too many functions. You can know functions, but you have to specialize in a tool and choose the tool you're going to be good at, or you're going to have to restart many times. Right. So you're going to get real, if you get really good at Marketo and you're man, but I love HubSpot so much more, and I really want to do it. You may have to take a pay cut to go to a HubSpot place because it's not your specialty. So if someone says you can be tool agnostic, no, you can't. You have to get because they're too complex. You have to get really good at the tools you want to get good at and learn the processes and implementing them inside where you're at. However, I make this point. You did mixed systems. You weren't even always in Salesforce, your CRM, SAP, which is almost non-existent anymore, but usually Salesforce. Your marketing automation platform was Marketo, Eloquent at one point, but you got rid of it. And in visualization, you had Power BI. So there's a point, you're never going to be in a place where you can fully, I say this, you're going to be in places where you have to interact with other systems. However, you can still focus on HubSpot and be successful, like Christina. Just want to make that point.
And I think you talked a little about this. I'll just really quickly say this. If you do have a system you're working with now and it's not something you love, or you feel like HubSpot is the way, dig your heels in onto why that is. because that's what I did with HubSpot. And it was truly less, and it was, yes, the product was amazing, but it was, do I see myself working with this for a long time? Do I believe in that vision? Because then you're going to be hungry and keep wanting to learn and keep getting better. And that's going to help you get to like where I am now.
Yeah, love it. Like the software you choose, you need to be aligned with the vision where it's going. That's why a lot of people are fanatics for Salesforce. That's why I was a Salesforce fanatic. And then HubSpot, I think that's a greater vision. One of the reasons I changed. I think as we go through this, I want to get some other points. We have 8 minutes. Is learning. I'm going to say this point. You looked at that. Is Christina was never afraid to learn. She did Salesforce training, Marketo training, and she got an MBA during that time frame, right? To get to upskill during those. Even learned SQL, read the inbound book. So like there's these things she was doing that were just part of her continuously upskilling. You heard me say is there's no such thing as being agnostic, have a preference and get good at it and be able to explain why and the why. So you may have to do other trainings in other places just so you know what you like. And then Christina's career evolved as HubSpot evolved. And Christina, because she writing it is now writing this new wave of HubSpot because she saw it. But now like like she made a bet and she could have been wrong. Salesforce could have bought HubSpot. They didn't. You guys, you're not betting like Christina did. Like there's no bet here. Like this is a foregone conclusion. You just need to pick what you're going to do, Salesforce or HubSpot. Okay. I want to go to this next. I just want to like look at this because what I mean by that, there's now evolution. And when you think about like, where should my journey start? How do I get good? There's 4, like, if you're like, okay, where should I start? There are 4 types of companies in HubSpot ecosystem. There are system integrators, and there's not many of these, which I'll talk, like they're called SIs. They are complex enterprise grade CRM implementations. HubSpot is like, honestly, it's only really become CRM in the last 2 years. There are not many of these. There's and I say this because RevPartners is one, and this is the reason we are the fastest growing because there's not many of these, but there's things like Amplitude 8 is one. There are things like, there's a lot of people trying to become this, but most people in the HubSpot ecosystem today are HubSpot agencies that focus on orchestrating inbound marketing. However, there are system integrators. So like when you think about like, what do I want to get good at? Do I want to learn how to do inbound and like marketing ops and doing campaign management and doing attribution? Or do I want to set up sales teams and help sales teams adopt new sales processes and sales ops and look at sales velocity? You honestly need to do both for RevOps. Just know like where you work will dictate what you experience.
If you like either of those, the foundation is super important. So if you love doing like building those campaigns and doing things like that in the sales app, but you want to know the why and you want to know like the trajectory of it or that base, that's also going to be to me, that's a light that goes off that you'd probably be really good at RevOps because that foundational aspect is going to make or break your CRM or anything you really build if it's on the marketing automation side as well.
Yes, right. You like if you constantly find yourself asking why and digging into the data without being asked, RevOps. The other 2 is independent software vendors. So in ecosystems like Salesforce, they're called ISVs. These are the people building apps in the marketplace. To be very honest, this is immature in HubSpot, but these are popping up. Like Amplitude 8 now has A8 Labs as an example. Like that's a place where you could work where you're deliberately doing nothing but building HubSpot apps. And if you want, like you're a developer and you want to learn HubSpot, like there are places you can start going. Another one is like Chart Hub they're in England, but there's like good ones that you can start doing. And then end users, these are just customers of software that you like in your interview process, you're like, hey, do you use HubSpot as you can start asking. I say Amplitude is Aptitude 8, by the way, guys. I don't know why I'm saying that.
I've said it before too, but I say
it's like people call RevPartners RevOps. I'm like, no, RevPartners. Different role now, and each one of these are different roles. You just need to know where you're doing. Like there's the admin ops person that's kind of like you're the one person, you're the generalist, you're everywhere. You have system architects and website developer, 2 separate things. So one's working at CMS Hub, one's working with the AP, like the one's like building apps, usually with the ERPs. And then you have built other roles. So I just want you all to see like these are where you can start learning different aspects and how you upskill. With 4 minutes, Gosh, I'm starting my HubSpot journey. Where do I start? I'm gonna skip I want you to go into these quickly, but I'm gonna say this one here is just get in the ecosystem, get an admin role, and make a bunch of mistakes. Admin is like the base, and then you can find out what you like, and then you can start to specialize. How would how are you thinking about trainings and communities as you think about relationships?
So for me, and I know this is kind of like a swear word during this webinar, but learn Salesforce Trailhead taught me a lot of things in the sense of just being a solutions architect, because they had it before HubSpot did, and that's what I wanted. And I saw HubSpot going that route, so that's kind of what I started to learn. And they do have the ability for you to sign up free basically and take the Trailhead courses. So that I would say that would be number one. And then from there, just get your HubSpot certifications and dive in deep. And with that too, what I love about HubSpot versus other CRMs or just other companies in general is people at HubSpot, employees, but also just community members like me and Matt and things like that. We want people to succeed with HubSpot. So asking questions, reaching them out in the community, getting on different Slack channels, and that's different communities, whether that's HubSpot. And I think we're going to talk about this later. I don't know if I have time, but different associations, which are ironically sometimes owned by Salesforce. So getting into this community, not being afraid to ask questions, get your ego out of the way, or just don't be scared, because people who are passionate about this want to help you. So that is really what I had to get over in a sense, and dive in deep. And I think also too, and on this deck, I'm going to show specifics of where I went, but I would say it's Salesforce, Trailhead, learning relational databases. You can go a lot of places for that, but I said MariaDB's things I've read, and then HubSpot developer docs, which I know that sounds super, super nerdy and probably boring, but get a glass of wine and you're good, or some whiskey and you're good. So start learning. And so that is really where I went.
If I'm doing if you want to go HubSpot only, so Slack owns almost it. But by the way, Salesforce is owned by Slack. So usually if you're in a Slack community, unless it's done by HubSpot, it's sponsored by Salesforce. Just want to RevGenius, Wizard of Ops, RevOps, Co-ops, they're all Salesforce funded. There are two that aren't here, HubSpot community, and the HubSpot super admin. There are two that are only HubSpot questions always as a point. I'm going to, we talk about our favorite features. I'm going to skip it or go over it. And what I want to go to is I'm going to talk about specific trainings. And so guys, you'll have this, but there's two different trainings in my mind. You have the HubSpot, the RevOps. And so inside this, you will have here's the example of all the communities, right? That you can go to: Pavilion, HubSpot Super Admin, Wizard of Ops, RevGenius, MSP, Modern Sales Pro is a good one. Here's courses for relational databases. Here's courses for go-to-market planning and forecasting. You ask LinkedIn and get your MBA. But then there's there's SQL that I recommend that I've seen. And so just know that's here and you'll have that. On the other side is this is HubSpot training. Is first here's how you get an admin job. Here's your ERDs. I've drawn this ERD so you can see it. And I also have a link to the HubSpot course. How to do a custom object would be a really good way to practice it. These HubSpot specific communities. Kyle Jepson is community of himself. There's influencers that you can start following and looking at. I'm trying to give you very specific ways to go to and look at. Okay. It is 11 o'clock.
I will say this custom objects
with Christina.
Yeah, I will say with custom objects, that's the way to differentiate yourself. If anybody's coming from Marketo or something like that, custom objects, learn it, because I have changed the way our CRM is built based with that, including the API pulled in, because we get all of our backend software information right into HubSpot, and custom objects has helped our CS team tremendously. So if there's one thing on this to start learning, I would learn that, and the developer docs really help you step by step. HubSpot does a great job with that.
With my final breath, Jan, as we go, hand it back over to you as we are a bit over, is we no longer have to pay the Salesforce tax, everybody. Just know that. And number two is that means there will be an intense need, and you already see it happening, for HubSpot admin in the marketplace. I hope, just know you can reach out to any of us in any of these communities, and we will help you become the best admin you can possibly be. Okay, Jan, with that, I hand it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much, Christina, and everyone here staying a little bit beyond the top of the hour. That was it. That was becoming a HubSpot admin. I want to thank RevPartners and Matt Bolian specifically for setting all of this up. This was an amazing session. I don't know what to say. One more note, the recording and the slides will be shared with you all tomorrow. You should all have signed up for this event. And if you've done that, we have your email address and we'll send you all of that information tomorrow. There were also some Q&A questions that we weren't able to get to. Normally, Matt should be able to answer all of that in our community. The link to that Q&A post will also be added to the resource email that you'll get tomorrow. Or maybe Friday, but probably tomorrow. But that's it. Yeah, thank you so much. We will see you all the next time. Thanks.
Now, can I add one thing? I'm so sorry. If you want a next event, or you have a topic you want us to talk about, like PLG in HubSpot, or how to run no profits in HubSpot, whatever it may be, we're going to do hit me, like give me something in a community, or here it is. Like, please, right now, before you shine off, pick one of these three, so that we can think about what we're going to do next. Okay, before you, that's my request.
Yeah, this is already
you guys are in the
good to get.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Christina.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, if you guys are an e-com company, like tech or brand, reach out to me, because the e-com hug is just starting, and you can speak if you have a really great case study, and if you're passionate or want to just get into the world of like speaking and like evangelizing yourself, reach out, because I'd love to have you there.
Where's that? Okay, yeah, official end. You can do it again. Sorry.
Yeah, no, this is the end. I will share the results of the poll. We'll probably have one more event somewhere in June, before the summer break, and we wanted to get your thoughts. So thank you so much for answering this. We'll also run the poll probably on LinkedIn and in our communities as well, because not everybody can be here. But yeah, that's it. We are way past time, so I will leave you to the rest of your day. Thank you so much, and yeah, see you next time.
Adios. Thank y'all.
Yeah.